Hello, gorgeous people. Today I wanted to make a video on not internalizing rejection because this is something I have experienced in my life many times over the years, and I was kind of reminded recently when I was put in a situation where I kind of put myself out there and didn't really get the response back that I suppose I was hoping for. Or honestly, this gets so many layers deep because I don't even think I was wanting or expecting to hear a certain response back, but I think that my ego still got a little bit triggered by rejection, which is something that is so important to stay aware of too, and I'll get further into that. But yeah, I was kind of reminded of all of the silly ways that our ego can respond and make up stories when we do get rejected by a person, a position, or even just not like necessarily full on rejected, but when something doesn't go the way that we want or that we're hoping for, or something just isn't working out. And just, being human is a really funny thing, and having an ego is a really tricky thing. And we can just so easily kind of let our minds be triggered and our egos be triggered into going to a place where we really internalize rejection. And we make it a very personal thing, and we can make up these stories regarding why it didn't work out and why we weren't enough, and then kind of really operate from a place of insecurity when these stories that we're making up could possibly be, couldn't be further from the truth. Like that really, really is possible. And a lot of times we just don't know the whole picture, and we kind of assume and we fill in the blanks. And especially if we already have insecurities or have wounds that need a little bit of tending to, it's so easy to use these rejections as, proof, I guess, of reasons why you feel like you're not good enough, or to kind of validate certain views and beliefs that you have about yourself and your life that really aren't serving you. And for the record, the way that you live your life, the beliefs that you choose to believe and live through and show up through are just that. They are a choice. That is something that you get to decide for yourself with your own free will, which is actually an amazing thing and blessing. If you are somebody who feels like you struggle with viewing things negatively, or kind of viewing life through a lens of insecurity, I highly suggest that you watch my video. I believe it's called How I Went From Being a Chronic Sad Girl to Being a Vibrant Glad Girl. I kind of go in depth about how I've completely changed myself as a person, completely changed my internal world, which has now reflected outwards. I am so much happier and have such a more positive baseline for my life than I used to back in the day. I used to be a very, very sad, mopey, victim-y kind of a gal, and I really have been able to change that. So that is something that you can decide to do for yourself. But yeah, I don't know. It's really just, it's tricky being human. It really is. And just being faced with this again recently, it was just a reminder of all these things that I knew. And now I'm really able to integrate it, and I want to be able to share, to be able to hopefully help somebody else not waste their time and energy responding in ways that are so unnecessary, or just internalizing. God, you guys, I just think back, like, there are so many examples of this that I've experienced in my personal life. When I was 16, I took driver's ed, and then I went to take my driver's test, and I think I failed my written test like 2 times, which, for the record, it's kind of hard, okay? Like, you really have to study that fucking practice book and know specifically all like, it is not just necessarily common sense, in my opinion. Anyways, when I went to take my written, or my driver's test, like my actual like driving test, I failed, and I was so discouraged from that and just so embarrassed from that. And I don't even know why, but I literally did not drive for another 2 years. I developed this really crazy like anxiety over driving, and I just thought I would never be able to drive. I would always wonder like damn, when I grow up and I move out, I literally don't know how I'm going to be able to operate in the world as an adult, because like I just don't think I'm ever going to be able to drive. And I literally like developed this anxiety and made up all these stories simply because I failed my driver's test the first time I took it. I don't know why, but my brain just spiraled in that direction after I'd been driving fine in driver's ed. And then it took me going to school kind of far away and like literally having to drive to get there in the morning to kind of like brush up on my, you know, driver's ed stuff and retake my test. And then I passed the very first time I took it. 2 years later, my second attempt, I passed. And I remember the instructor like kind of talking to me and my mom, and he was like, dang, like what took you so long? And I remember so distinctly, I will never forget this, my mom saying, you know, I think she was just really discouraged the first time. And like, dang, I wasted 2 years of my life not having that freedom of driving and literally making up all of these stories. Like, it's so crazy just the way that we can operate and how we can just get so discouraged and just internalize things so deeply that really don't have to be that deep. And it's just like, you're not always going to succeed your first time. Things aren't always going to go the way that you want, but it's like, you really just gotta brush it off and try again, especially if it is something that you feel very, very passionate about. I remember I've always wanted to model. So when I was a teenager, when I was probably like 18, I like last minute decided to go to this like open casting call. I had never like practiced modeling prior to that. It was just always something I wanted to do. But yeah, I didn't practice, I didn't prep, you know, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. And I went there, and I just remember that day in general was just so chaotic, and I couldn't find parking, and it was raining, and it was like, I was running late. It was just like this whole fiasco. And I got there, and of course, like, you know, I wasn't prepped. Like, I didn't really know what I was doing. I wasn't very comfortable in front of the camera. And so they took my pictures, and they went back, and they talked, and they came back, and they were like, you know, we really love your look, but we think that you would be a better fit with this other agency in Seattle. And I just like internalized that so hard, and like just never tried to model again. And then I even got like, what's that called? Scouted. I even got scouted when I was like at this thrift store in Tacoma by that other agency that they suggested, which like, I don't know, I was also just in my ego because I was like, that one's not as good, that one's more generic, I have to only do the top one that had rejected me. I don't know. I was still so hyped though when I got scouted, and I remember my boyfriend at the time was with me, and he was talking to the guy that like gave me his card, and he was like, oh my god, she talks about this every day, like she wants this so bad, this is so crazy that this is happening. And I just like self-sabotaged so much, probably because of those wounds from like that rejection, and even deeper wounds of like the reason why I'm so uncomfortable in front of the camera. I remember like, I know where it stems from, and obviously there's inner work that still needs to be done, or I have been working on now at this point, but I self-sabotaged so much that I never even reached out to that guy. I never even like pursued it. And it was like a dream of mine. And I remember posting on Instagram and being like, oh my god, today was the best day ever. Like, I was so happy and I felt so validated, but like, I still was so discouraged and just didn't think that I was enough, and had developed all this anxiety around this thing that even when somebody was telling me, you are enough, we want you to do this with us, I still just like never followed through, and I didn't do it. And it's just so crazy, you guys. It's so crazy. And it's just like so important that we do this like healing work to be able to feel confident, to be able to shake things off when they don't go our way. It's just like, we so deeply need to be sourcing our love and validation and attention and whatever else it is that you are maybe seeking outwardly from a person or a place or a position, you know, feeling like, oh, I have to have this job, or I have to earn this much money to feel good about myself, or I have to be receiving attention from this other person to be able to feel like my existence is like worthy of anything. Like, it's just like none of those external things have anything to do with your inherent worthiness. And it is just so incredibly vital that we, you know, tend to those wounds, and that we also pay attention to, like, why is this rejection hurting so much? Or what am I trying to seek from this person that I could be giving myself? So we just have to really, really try to create like a stable center within, so that like when something doesn't go right or doesn't go the way that we're hoping, it doesn't throw us off course for fucking 2 years or your entire life. Like, it's so crazy how deeply these things can stick with us. And generally I think it is because it comes from a core wound from like childhood that hasn't been healed yet. But just so important to stay aware And I also wanted to talk in depth about just like how sometimes rejection is really a form of protection. I feel like in this human life, we have a very, very limited perspective of people and of things. You know, we're human and we don't know the full story. So we can think that we really want something, or our ego might really, really want something, whether it's a person or a situation to unfold the way that we want. And sometimes those things do not work out, and it can feel like the world is working against you and like, why me or whatever. I've been in that situation so many times, especially in regards to like relationships where I really desperately wanted to be with somebody, and then it felt like they were like ripped out of my life, or they did something that just like made it to where I knew that we couldn't be together. And it felt like such a betrayal from the universe, and I was just so sad. And then I would later realize like this was probably the biggest blessing that could have happened to me, because I see later as I let things unfold and I gain more understanding, like, wow, this person was not right for me. They were not treating me right, or they were going to change in this way that was not going to be in alignment. Like, there are so many things that we just don't know, and sometimes we don't know other people's intentions. And I just believe so deeply that I am so loved and guided and supported by the universe and by unseen sources, and that could be the universe for you or whatever you believe, God, whatever. I just personally have been shown too many times in my life to ever doubt that, like, I am not alone out here, you guys. Like, there is so much support, and I'm shown this through blessings, through synchronicities, through just like weird happenings that are just so unexplainable that you just feel so deeply. Even if it doesn't logically make sense, it's something that you just know deep down. You feel it, you understand it. Oh my God, I literally just looked at it's fucking 222 right now, you guys. That is what I am saying. That is what I am saying. And to some people, it's going to appear like I have spiritual psychosis. I promise you guys, I'm actually so grounded. But like, life is sick, and there's so much more than just meets the eye. And I highly recommend that you tune into it, because it's just like really fun and sick. But anyways, I've just been shown too many times that I am just like loved and supported and guided. So I have to know at this point that like, if something is not going my way, then it is probably for a greater good. Because yeah, like I said, like when I was 16 years old, I was in love with this boy. We were dating, and then he cheated on me and got the girl pregnant. And I felt like that was the worst thing that could have ever possibly happened. But like, I really feel like that happening, which obviously that really has nothing to do with me. It's their path and their journey, and they were supposed to have this child. From my minuscule little, you know, part in that, and my perspective on that situation, for me personally on my journey, like, wow, that was the best thing that could have happened to me, because that partner was already doing so many things that were not okay, and already treating me in so many ways that were so shitty. And I just didn't have the strength or the self-respect to leave. And I really feel like it took something that major happening to like peel us apart. And now I look back and I'm like, thank fucking God that happened, because like, who knows how many years I would have wasted with this person. And I was revolving my life around this person. And like, yeah, something that can appear as like a bad thing could actually end up being such a good thing later on. That's why it's just so important to not label things as good or bad, because it's not that black and white, and things are just neutral. And sometimes you just really have to give things time to unfold fully so you can get a better understanding of it. But because I've been shown that I'm so loved and supported, and because I choose to view my life through these belief systems that I'm always exactly where I'm supposed to be, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be at the right time, at the right place, and everything is always working out for me even better than I can imagine, and that I am just loved and I am held, and things are always working out for my highest good, because I truly deep down believe those things, because I choose to see the good in things, and because I choose to focus on all the times that I have felt loved and supported in my life. It's genuinely a conscious choice, because I'm not saying that shitty things don't happen in my life. They do, but it's all about perspective, which again, entirely up to you. But because I affirm those things to myself daily, to the point where now I know it deep down, when something is not going my way, when I'm rejected by something, I just know and have to trust that it is for my highest good. Whether it is a form of protection, whether something just isn't in alignment. That's the case a lot of the time, you guys, whether it's a relationship or a position. If somebody is like rejecting you or not pouring into you the same way that you are pouring into them, it could just be that it's just not in alignment. And that doesn't mean that you love that person or that thing any less. It doesn't mean that you're any less passionate about it. It just means that maybe there's a better fit for that thing. which like is honestly amazing, because if you genuinely love something, which I know as a human being with an ego, it's really hard to actually love somebody or something unconditionally. But you know, when we're really, really, truly in our heart space as much as we can and in our truest and purest essence, and we just feel love for something because we genuinely love and we care about it, we want what's best for it, even if that is not us. And it's not something to be bitter about. It's not something to be upset about, and valid for it to be at first, which is why you really have to feel through those feelings to free yourself. Because if you love something, you genuinely want what's best for it, okay? You really, really do. And if that isn't you, if it's a person that you want to be with and they say, you know what, I'm not really feeling it, this doesn't feel right to me, or for whatever reason, it probably means that there's a person out there that is just a better match for them. And that is great news, because that also means that there's a person out there for you who is a better match for you. And I always have felt reassured in my past. If anything, I feel like I can struggle with being the one to reject people and things. So sometimes I actually feel more comforted when somebody does it to me, because I'm like, okay, then I have full clarity, where it's like, if you're telling me no, that means that you are not meant for me, and that means that somebody else is, which obviously I need to work on being able to make those decisions for myself, and like not being scared to hurt people's feelings or to like say no. But yeah, it just, if it's not working out with somebody else, it's with somebody, it's going to with somebody else. And same for a position, same for a job. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you are not enough. It has nothing to do with that, truly. And just think about all the times in your life where like somebody has maybe shown interest in you, or a position has shown interest in you, or an opportunity or a situation or anything. And it's like, oh, this is so sick. Like, this is so cool, but just like, you know, it's not the right time in my life, or I'm just not feeling it right now, or whatever the case may be. And it's not personal. It doesn't mean that you think it's like any less awesome. So it's just like so important that we don't kind of go down that dark road of internalizing things in that way. It also could be like, for instance, over the summer, so I dated this guy for 2 years and then we broke up. Or maybe it was a year. I don't know. I dated this guy for a year. I'm pretty sure it was a year. And then we broke up. And then for the next year, we were kind of on and off trying to figure it out. In the beginning of the relationship, he was so in love with me, so into me, such a yearner, such a simp, okay? Like, kissed the ground I walked on. And then over time, he kind of started to pull away a little bit. And he was acting very cold, and he would kind of like ghost me for days. And I was so confused and so distraught, and just like, it was such a stark difference from how he had acted before. And unfortunately, like, this was a huge lesson for me. This is really where this learning came in. And now it's easier with new situations, because I know I've already learned this lesson, that like, I will never, ever, ever try to earn somebody's love ever again, ever try to go out of my way to prove myself to somebody and my worth to somebody. Because when this happened in my relationship, I just like, I felt so bad about myself and so insecure. And I was like, oh my God, like, what am I doing wrong? I need to be so much cooler. I need to be hotter. I need to be more this or more that. And like, I drained so much of it makes me want to cry to think about me doing this. I drained so much of my own energy and wasted so much of my own time trying to get this person to like see me again and love me again and act how they did before. And you know what ended up happening? I ended up finding out that he had a whole nother girlfriend that whole time and that he was gaslighting both of us and lying to both of us. And he had such deep-seated insecurity issues that like he could not be alone, that he had to have like 2 fucking girlfriends. And when he wasn't responding to me, when he was ghosting me, when he was pulling away, it's because he was literally with another girl, seeing another girl, or feeling the shame from that. Like, it had nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me at all. And I spent so much time trying to earn this person's love again, and like just questioning myself and feeling insecure about myself, when this had everything to do with this person and their own business that they had going on with themselves and their own wounds and their own lies. Like, it's just so crazy. And that is such like a moment of clarity for me, because like, it's just now, when I was just recently faced with a situation where I maybe kind of put myself out there, and didn't necessarily get the response I don't even know. Basically, it just was kind of like rejected, I suppose, or friend zoned. Like, my brain could have really easily, and like almost did for a second, go to a place where it's like, oh, but I want to make this person love me, and I'm going to earn their love, and I'm going to do the most to like prove how cool and amazing and beautiful I am. And I just, oh my God, I truly had to return to that knowing that, you know, those lessons that I just learned from like the past year of like, oh, absolutely not. No, like if you don't want to be with me, that is okay. That is totally okay. I think you're an awesome person. You're amazing. You're great. And like, honestly, respect you being truthful with me. I think that's awesome. And like, super cool that like this person also was like, I would love to be friends. Like, I love, you know, your personality. It's just like, you know, maybe, I don't know. It's just not it. But their intuition is telling them it's not it. And it's like, cool. I do not have to internalize that at all. I don't have to sit there and question like, why am I not good enough? Why doesn't this person? Because it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. And it could have to do with so many things with that person on their own journey and what they're looking for and their past experiences leading them to exactly where they are now. Like, it has nothing to do with you. And I just saw this quote. There's this girl that I follow on Instagram, this woman, her name is Jillian. I can link her here. She's like a relationship specialist or therapist. And she just posted something that was saying how like when somebody pulls away in a relationship, we spend way too much time trying to figure out why instead of just moving on. And that is just so potent and true, because it's just like, God, if we really genuinely feel secure within ourselves, if we know what we bring to the table, if we fill ourselves up, if we fill our own cup, if we tend to our own wounds, if we give ourselves love and validation and attention, and we genuinely see ourselves, then somebody else rejecting us or not being interested shouldn't faze us, you know? And it shouldn't be something that makes us bitter or angry at them either. It should really just be like a, okay, cool. Like, I get it. I see it, whatever. Moving forward. Like, it's that simple. And I think about like friends who like have applied for positions and maybe they don't hear back and then they internalize it and they're like, oh my God. And I'm just like, wow, it is so clear to me how you are like the most amazing worker. You're so smart. Like the smartest person I know. You're so dedicated. Like any company or person would be so lucky to have you on their team. Like it's so crazy. It's so clear when it's people that you love. So I think you really just have to like have that same energy for when it's yourself as well. And it also could be that maybe something better is just like around the corner, kind of like how I was talking about how like something maybe more in alignment. I remember that when I was apartment hunting in LA, when I first moved there, I didn't have secure housing. I didn't have a place to stay. So it was very stressful looking for a place. And I kind of was operating from a desperate place at that point because I just needed somewhere to live. But I also had such a strong vision for what I truly wanted out of a house. And I just looked over it as 2, 3, 4. But it wasn't happening, you guys. Like it wasn't happening. I was going to so many apartment tours and I just was not finding what I liked. And like, honestly, it was like fucking disrespectful. The places that they were showing me for the price, like a literal like 300 square foot box with just like a sink on the wall for like $1,300 with no parking. Like actually the audacity is truly insane. And that was like 4 years ago. So I cannot even imagine right now. But, yeah, it felt like it wasn't going my way at all. And I felt really, really discouraged and really scared, and rightfully so, because I didn't have a place to live. But because I'm so supported by the universe, I ended up being able to stay at my friend's uncle's house for a week. And then while I was there, I ended up being able to find a sublease for a month. And then while I was at the sublease, like my last week of the sublease, on the Lionsgate portal, I'd been looking at apartments, but I didn't feel so desperate anymore. And at that point, I truly was just like, you know what, universe, I'm trusting. I feel very exhausted right now and stressed, but like, I'm trusting. And I ended up finding my perfect apartment that literally could not have been more ideal. It had every single thing that I wanted, but it just like, I found it the day that it was before it even went on the market. I had called this guy about a different apartment. And he had said, you know what, that one just got taken, but there's this other one that I just saw yesterday. He was like, I haven't even posted it yet, and it's going to go so fast. It's like literally just became available if you want to go check it out before everybody else. And I went and saw it, and I was like, do not even post this. Like, I will take it from you right now. Like, I need this apartment because it was so perfect and so different from any of the other ones that I had seen. Literally, I'd never seen anything this amazing. It was everything that I wanted, everything and more. It was incredible. And it just hadn't been available yet. So it's like, I could have settled for something earlier on But like, I knew intuitively that those places didn't feel right. And I just had to be a little bit more patient. And yes, it was stressful. And yes, it was like, it unfolded differently than how I had pictured and imagined, because I thought I was just going to drive here, move here, and find a place. No, I had to stay at, different places for like a month and a half, which was actually amazing. And I ended up meeting like the most incredible people and having awesome roommates and getting to experience so many things that I wouldn't have otherwise if things had gone the way that I wanted. And it just wasn't ready yet. So maybe what is really perfect and aligned for you, whether it's a house, whether it's a person, your life partner, whether it's your future best friend, whether it's like your perfect dream job, maybe the universe just like isn't letting you settle. And just like, because there's something so perfect and so magical and so aligned for you, even better than like what you can imagine right now. And it's just right around the corner, and you just have to be a little bit more patient. And that is also something that I have learned, that like it is such a valuable skill and knowing to be able to be flexible in this life and to be able to be open-minded, because we can just, get so set on what we want. And it truly is so amazing to have a vision of what you want and to co-create it as much as you can. We have a lot of free will, but there are obviously a lot of circumstances that are out of our control. And I fully believe in like co-creating your life to the fullest extent. But things often do not go the way that we want. And like, sometimes that's for the better. And so just being able to be open and kind of go with the flow and kind of be as detached as you can, which I know is hard, because trust me, I get fucking attached to things. I feel so deeply and I love so deeply that it's just like, it can be really hard, but I just have to remind myself that everything in this experience is temporary, and just return to those like really deeper truths that nothing belongs to me. And just return to gratitude for just being able to experience people and things, because everything is always changing. Nothing is going to last forever, and nothing genuinely belongs to me. It really, really doesn't. And so, yeah, you guys, and that doesn't mean that you like feel any less hard or that you love any less hard. Like, I am so against fucking like shutting off your emotions or being too cool for things or being like detached in like a cold way. No, I fully believe in wearing your heart on your sleeve and being passionate and just fully involved in life, like despite knowing, or in addition to knowing, that like it could all be ripped away from you. Like, it's so scary and it can be so excruciating, but that's like the price of living, and you have to live, you guys. Life is too short to live. So it's like, you still have to like try and feel and express yourself and love and put yourself out there, but stay flexible to, things unfolding differently than you want, or differently than you imagined, or just looking different than what you had maybe hoped for, because maybe it can be really beautiful in a different way. So yeah, just staying flexible, you guys, staying flexible, going with the flow. And yeah, and here's the other thing too. I was telling myself all this recently when I was kind of going through that rejection, and logically it made sense and it clicked, and it's like, I know these things, but I was like, okay, well, why are my emotions not like matching what I'm saying and what I know to be true? And it is because it is so vital that you also like feel all of the feelings of disappointment or grief or sadness or hurt or frustration or literal like exhaustion, and just being tired of like putting yourself out there and feeling like it just hasn't been going your way. All of those feelings are so incredibly valid and deserve to and truly need to be honored and felt to their fullest extent. And it's super easy to like try to intellectualize things and to understand something logically, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like you feel that way yet. So it's like, you have to do what you can to just feel, to free yourself and let go, because like I said, life is too short to stay stuck on any situation. If it is not working out, if it doesn't feel like easeful, if it's not pouring into you in the same way that you're pouring into it, if deep down this doesn't feel right, you cannot, or you can choose to waste your time. But like, I'm just so trying to not do that anymore, because this life is so precious. And I just want to make the most of every minute of it. And I want to feel good. And I don't want to waste time staying stuck in places that aren't meant for me, because I want to find the people and the places and the situations that truly feel so in alignment and light me up and pour into me and see me and love me and respect me and cherish me and honor me. And like, oh my God, I want to find my people, okay? Like, I want to find my people. I want to be in the places that I'm meant to be in. And you can't do that when you stay stuck in places that aren't meant for you. And You guys, we just gotta feel and heal so we can move the fuck on. And I know it's hard and it's not fun and it can be excruciating, but you just have to face those things. And like, you're not gonna die from it. Like, you're not gonna die. You just have to feel your way through. And if that's something that you also struggle with, I have a video on here. I think it's called How I Deal with and Process My Emotions. And I talk about how I deal with and process my emotions in a way that feels efficient to me so that I can truly just get it all out of my system and move on with life, because you know what's meant for you is out there and it will find you. You just have to be open to it, and sometimes you just have to like create space for it. So I recommend watching that video. But yeah, like whether it's journaling or exercising or running or screaming in a forest or whatever it is, just, you know, get it out. And lean on the people that love you, especially, you know, if you are facing a harsh rejection, lean on the people that truly know you and love you. And if you can't remember who you are in that moment, ask your friends to remind you, you know. Sometimes we get in really dark places and we just have to be reminded how special and amazing and magical we are, and to really embody that and operate from that place. Last thing I want to touch on, I think, is that, you know, we aren't all perfect, and sometimes we are the problem. And I know this is kind of going against what this whole video is about, because I don't want you to internalize rejection, but there is something to be said about, like, if somebody is giving you feedback, very clear feedback of like the reason why they're rejecting you, and it's maybe something that you also recognize within yourself that's coming from a wounded place, or a way that you're operating or showing up that you're not proud of, or that you just don't want to continue anymore for whatever reason, it is so valid to look inward and say, okay, what ways can I like gently encourage some growth, or how could I show up differently in a way that's going to make me feel so proud, or that's going to put me in a position to attract the things that I want to attract. Or if it's like you got rejected from a job opportunity or something that has to do with your passion or your craft, you are absolutely good enough exactly how you are inherently. You are so worthy of love and everything that you desire just by being born. But there, you know, maybe you could work on your craft a little bit if it's something that you love and you want to learn and like genuinely do better, while still accepting where you're at the same time. I think that's really the key, and it's so important to find that balance of like not being mean to yourself, loving and accepting where you are. But of course, it's always amazing to strive to do better, just in a healthy and like rational way. So if you feel like things aren't working out because like you need to do some improvement, then, you know, maybe pull away from the outside world a little bit and just take some time to like pour into yourself, to learn, to grow, to evolve, so that when you step out in the world, you feel like you are a match for the things that you want to be a match for. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that you are, you know, gentle with yourself in the process. But anyways, you guys, I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to express. I just feel like it is so important to not try to force things. You deserve to like not have to be putting in the most effort to make something happen, you know? Like, you're amazing and things should be able to come to you too, and it should be an equal give and exchange, and you shouldn't have to go majorly out of your way and come up with these creative fucking delusional, like, trust me, you guys, I've been down bad in the past and I have like done the most to try to like earn love and attention, and it's very sad to look back at. And so I'm just so grateful for everything that I've learned, and it's easy to fall back into those things. If you do, it's okay. I caught myself falling back into like these negative mindsets as well, and I just had to return myself and, you know, look like, what was I wanting from this person that I can give to myself? What attention, what validation can I give? And like I said, also so important to really stay aware of your ego, because it's just very important to stay aware of your intentions in general and why you do want something, and make sure that they are really, really coming from a pure place. Because when you are kind of operating from a place of insecurity or lack, it's really easy to just get desperate and just want anything from anywhere, you know what I mean? So just really like healing and leaning into healing so that we can like truly live a life of our dreams and attract the things that like are genuinely good for us, that we truly, truly like want from a pure place. But anyways, you guys, if you're going through something that feels, you know, tough right now, or you're feeling disappointed, I just so encourage you to just heal it, and just keep it trucking, and just trust that the right people and the right situations are on their way to you. And I know it can feel really discouraging sometimes, but I don't know, just I personally try to find things that make me happy and just, you know, try to live my life every day in a way by doing things that feel good to me and just staying so open to receiving blessings and just focusing on myself in the meantime while I'm kind of waiting for these things to come in and not being fixated on it, and just doing what I can to feel good and stable and happy in my life. But anyways, you guys, I love you so, so, so much. Keep going. Do not get discouraged. Do not internalize. Do not stay stuck. Yeah, there are so many opportunities that are just right for you out there. So really all that you have to do is just be yourself. But I love you guys so much, and I appreciate you watching, and I will see you guys again in a video soon. Okay, bye-bye.